Hi, and welcome to Samford's Software and Internet Monthly Market Report for February 2024. And as usual, we're going to be reviewing the previous month's M&A and venture capital activity across the entire US and Canadian landscape. So let's dive in on the M&A front first. So in February, we saw $1.1 billion invested across 95 transactions, and those all had a median revenue multiple of 4.1 times. The low deal value is largely because only 8 deals had disclosed their transaction size this month. And if we expand the data set to include announced deals that haven't closed, the total value jumps to 8.6 because of several large transactions, such as, for example, KKR's announced acquisition of the end user computing business of VMware. That was done for $4 billion. And then there was also Thoma Bravo's announced take private of Everbridge. That was done for $1.5 billion. Despite that, though, the transaction values and volumes for February are still quite low, and we'll get into some of that detail on the following slides. So then looking at annual trends in deal volume and dollars invested, we're currently tracking for just under 1,300 deals as of February, which is down about 9% year over year. Deal values tracking considerably worse, though. That's down about 90% year over year, which is partly because some of those large transactions I mentioned earlier haven't actually closed yet. And then moving on to valuations, the median revenue multiple for this quarter currently sits at 4.1 times. Interestingly, though, the spread between the 25th and 75th percentiles shrunk to its narrowest margin compared to the last 20 quarters, signaling that most businesses are really trading in a very narrow range right now, and we're not really seeing as many of those outsized multiples as we did before. Then moving on to SaaS versus non-SaaS multiples. So both of those did decline year over year. However, the gap did initially tighten in 2022, but those have started to expand, with SaaS companies now trading at a premium that's much more in line to pre-COVID levels. And then lastly, over to monthly M&A deal volume. We still haven't really broken this downward trend that we're in yet. It has somewhat stabilized in recent months, although the February deal count of 95 is still sitting well below the 12-month average of 112. So we've certainly got a long way to go still. So that's it for the M&A side of things. Now we'll move on to the venture capital side of things. So February saw $3.4 billion invested across 404 transactions and a median deal size of 4 million. Both deal counts and deal values came in relatively weak for February and January as well, at least relative to historical periods. And we'll get into some of that detail on the following slides. So like M&A, monthly deal counts for VC deals still hasn't really broken this downward trend we're in yet. Right now, we're sitting at our lowest point in a while at 404 deals, which is well below the 12-month average of 562. And then if we look at things on an annualized basis, we expect to see just over 5,400 transactions representing a year-over-year decline of 28%, along with 38 billion in deal value, representing a year-over-year decline of 43%. So it's evident it's a very challenging time right now in the VC market. And then the last thing that we'll discuss is VC multiples. So far in 2024, early stage valuations have remained relatively stable, but the same can't really be said for mid stage and late stage valuations. So mid-stage valuations right now are down 66% year over year, and they've actually dropped below later stage valuations for the first time in a while. And then if we look at late stage valuations, those are down about 24% year over year. So that's it for this month's Software and Internet Monthly Market Report. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.